Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 amazing Switch games that for some reason or another nobody's talking about. And it's infuriating. One of the problems with so many amazing games being on the Switch is that there's going to be a lot of games, or at least 10 brilliant games that essentially get lost at the wayside because of one reason or another, or they fall off the radar too soon, or generally don't get reviewed by people, or they do and then nobody still cares. Whatever, it's a shame is what I'm saying. Call them whatever you like, hidden gems, underrated games. We just felt that the title we used was particularly spicy, so that's why we went with it. But anyway, enough waffling, let's dive right into things, in no particular order. At the time of recording, Yakus Island Express is a fairly new game, but even so, it's just not getting the attention it deserves. If you're a little bit confused about what the hell you're looking at, basically, Yakus Island Express is a Metroidvania pinball game. Contextually, all the pinball stuff makes very little sense, but you know what? It really doesn't matter because the game itself is just a joy. You play as a tiny beetle postmaster who's just arrived at his new job, and goodness gracious, the whole island's gone to nonsense. It's your job to sort the whole island out using various pinball mechanics, making new friends along the way, and just overall having a ruddy good time. I don't think I need to tell you that the art style is just drop-dead gorgeous. The presentation, everything about it is just incredibly charming and wonderful, and you just need to play this game. It's so unique, so different, so utterly unlike anything else in the world. It just deserves so much more.
Before we get there, I should probably mention that
Oxen Freeze is a weird one because when it first came out, everyone was like, oh wow, this is amazing, but then very quickly, everyone just stopped talking about it. It's not necessarily a game that's going to appeal to everyone because it's not some high-octane, fast-paced game. It's more a relaxed and more of an exploration and story-driven affair. It's really engrossing, the story is beautifully written, it's got some genuinely really good voice acting, especially for games, and arguably most importantly, it's really ruddy cheap on the eShop. I think I picked this up for like £4 or something, honestly. There's no reason not to get it. If you like story and engaging characters, you can't really go wrong with this one.
If I don't have anyone to burp me, it becomes a real issue.
Wait. You're Jonas. Jonas, the stepbrother.
Yeah. What's your name again?
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time isn't as saucy as it sounds, but that doesn't mean it's not brilliant. It's essentially a 4-player co-op game, sort of micromanaging type affair, and it's really good fun. It's pretty good when you're playing single player, but when you're playing multiplayer, that's when things really kick up a notch. It's got a great art style, it's an easy game to pick up and play, even if you're not that experienced at games, which means you can take it to a party, and people can just pick it up and enjoy it. It's really good. When my girlfriend saw this on the eShop and saw I was downloading it, she said, "Why are you downloading that?" Because admittedly, the icon and the art style does make this game look like a bit of a budget affair, or something that someone's just thrown together. Nothing could be further from the truth. West of Loathing is a beautifully crafted and incredibly well-written game that just oozes charm and, more importantly, humor. It actually stems from an old browser game called Kingdom of Loathing that I played a lot growing up as a teenager, and so to see a fully fledged game come from the same people with the same brilliant dry humor was just a dream come true. It's got excellent replayability, a really deep RPG stats-based system, and if you just like humor and you want a game that you can just relax and read a bit rather than go in some sort of, you know, quick time event nonsense, fast-paced action game, this is excellent. It honestly is excellent. Only thing is, I wish it could go on forever. On the face of it, Caste does just look like another sort of Connect 4 or sort of Bejeweled style game. And I think that's really been its downfall, and that's why it's on this list. Because it is so much more than that. It is really deep and engaging and has a really interesting way of taking the standard sort of puzzle genre and turning it on its head into something really different and unique. It sort of combines what you're seeing on screen, the sort of typical puzzle-based affair, with an unusual amount of mech combat, and it works brilliantly. It's just a shame it's not talked about more, and I have to admit, when I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's just another puzzle game, but it really, really isn't just that. Tell me, what's better than a dungeon crawler? That's right, a dungeon crawler rhythm game! Yes, just like Yaku's Island Adventure, this is another instance of a game that does something genuinely different and really original, and unfortunately just gets forgotten or a little bit ignored. And it's such a shame because once again this is something really special, blending two different genres seamlessly together into one big, tasty, meaty morsel. Unless you've got absolutely zero tempo, this is a must-have. Another rhythm game, but again, not what you'd really expect, is Floor Kids. It got a decent amount of press when it was first released, but again, it fell off the radar very, very quickly. This is basically a passion project by John, who's an animator, and Kid Koala, who did all the music, and has even been involved in stuff like Gorillas, so you know he's good. It's amazingly stylish, endlessly replayable, and allows for real creativity when it comes to the dance moves that you choose to use and the ones that you don't. But it can also be very difficult if you don't treat it with respect. Are you a fan of Greek mythology? Well, this is technically related, isn't it? Yeah. The Next Penelope is kind of like a top-down racing game that employs some really unusual mechanics. The presentation is stunningly 80s, but it is rooted in the original tale of Homer's Odyssey, so it's kind of an adaptation of that. So it's technically educational. It's a short but sweet affair, and ideally we'd like it to be a little bit longer, but thankfully the 4-player multiplayer really picks up the slack. It's seriously good fun, seriously refined, and seriously difficult at times, so if you like a challenge, this one's for you. If you happen to be around and playing games in the 80s and 90s, no doubt you'll have played at least one shmup in your time. R-Type, Xenon 2, there were loads to choose from, but it is a genre that's kind of dipped off the radar a bit in recent years. Maybe that's why Steriden Binary Stars did not get anywhere near the love it deserves. It manages to really effortlessly blend shmup gameplay between the retro and yet giving it a modern twist. The pixel art is beautifully done and reminds us of things like Shovel Knight, where it takes a sort of retro aesthetic, but manages to bring it forward a bit. It's also really hard. Seriously, this thing will really test you, and if you're not prepared, you're gonna be in serious, serious trouble. But if you're good, you're gonna get a lot out of this one. Membrane is a weird looking game, and I absolutely love this kind of rough around the edges art style, and it really speaks to me, and the gameplay is just as equally unique. It's essentially a puzzle platformer where you go around sort of building and changing the world around you in order to progress. You'll be destroying things, building things, and rebuilding things in order to try and get to the next level. Much like Breath of the Wild, it takes a few interesting physical mechanics and properties and runs away with them in deploying them in ways that you couldn't possibly have even imagined. Or maybe you could, because clearly somebody did. I think this one's probably the most obscure on the list because, frankly, even I hadn't heard of it when it came to actually doing this list. But it so deserves to be on here, and it so deserves so much more attention than it ever got. And there you have it, 10 fantastic Switch games that for some reason nobody's talking about and deserve a lot more attention. Which one's your favourite? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you click that subscribe button and then buy one of these amazing games and support some smaller developers that really deserve more credit than they get. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye bye.